Shalom Israel. The Israelite School of Universal and Practical, which started at 1 West Harlem, New York. My sisters. The I.S.U.P.K today is run by the man with the rank and the authority to be Israel's leader. All right, now we are entering, we're not in the 7th month yet, we're entering the 7th month. According to our Gregorian calendar, which month we enter in? Which month we are in? What do you mean? Which month we in now? Which month we in now?
I mean, regular month.
If I call it regular. All right. Yeah, the calendar that you're following now is called the Gregorian calendar. So according to the Gregorian calendar, you are in 9th month, right? So go where that term may come from. Forget your period. If you get that period, Gregorian, I mentioned it of the Gregorian calendar. Where did that term come from? Gregorian.
Gregorian.
Any takers? None? Any wild guess? Going once, going twice? Yeah. Going on.
Gregorian calendar.
Going twice.
So, the Roman.
All right, you're close enough. All right, yes, it's Roman. But what you are Googling? Pope Gregory. All right. You got it? Pope Gregory, where does it come from?
Pope Gregory.
It'll come up with. All right. But according to the calendar that we are using now, we are in the 9th month. But according to the Most High's calendar that we set the earth from, we are entering what? We are in the 6th month, entering into the 7th month. Which feast we supposed to have this month? Blowing of the trumpet, which is the one? The first day of the 7th month. Which is in the 7th month. First day, right?
Oh, so the first day of the 7th month.
Right. So we are, which is September?
30 September 17.
So you see, the 17th of September at sundown is the beginning of the 7th month for our Most High. Most High gave us his calendar, which he modeled the earth from. And according to the Most High's calendar, the first month is
July. No.
Yep.
No.
You don't have to call on name. The first month is when the first month starts. The what?
In the spring. Starting of spring.
In the spring.
Starting of spring. In the spring.
beginning.
You know, you said that I thought they would go back to the first one, the beginning of spring. You never said that. You said in spring. Not the same thing. It's the first day of spring, the first day of the first month for the most part. And that's the calendar that he gave unto Israel, which I realize no other nation follows. So all the high holy days in the Bible is modeled from the Most High calendar, which he gave unto Israel, which he gave unto the Israelites. And what happened? There was a time when it was used to use in the world, you know how you know it. I know that the world used to use it before they changed it and to mess us up now. How you know that?
Because
Probably due to all them hurrying most of them holidays. Some of them are most part of the day.
All right, so you say holidays. Not exactly. What do you say?
consider them want full control over us. So they change the calendar so we don't know.
No. But I just said, oh, why they change it? I said, oh, you know that they used to follow the Most High calendar.
Oh.
When they changed it, the various calendars, there was Gregorian, there was another one, there was another one. There was one thing that they did not change.
The season.
If they could change that, they would. They can't change that. Yes. There was one thing that they did not change. Which is still used today.
Yeah, I think that's the months, right?
Yeah, you can say months. Yes, months, yeah. In terms of months, yeah. But there was one thing that they did not change when they changed.
That's right.
Yeah.
Month by month. 12 months in a year.
Not exactly. I think our months are 13, Because also we know that the first day of spring is the first month. We also know that the new moon marks the beginning of a month. Right?
Yeah,
you notice in these months, Gregorian months, you have new moon as the middle of the month. Sometimes. You ever notice that? Yeah, man, because they go to the light so that you don't even see the moon. They have street light and thing. So you don't even know when it's full moon. Yeah, man. New moon would be the beginning of the month, right? But there's one thing that they didn't change, and that is the tax year. All right, when they start paying tax, you will know which month is your tax due. April, which is generally the beginning of spring, generally falls in April, March, April, about, right? Generally span that period, right? All right, and if they haven't changed it. So that is why you wonder, if January is the beginning of the year, why does my tax due somewhere about April here? Something like that. For us, it's like about the 15th of April is the final day. It shows you that they knew about the Passover, which is generally the 15th day of the first month, something like that. So they mark the first month and they keep it. But to count the moons to know when it starts. But they had pegged it in April. Now also you find that when you read about Mary and Joseph, when Christ was all right, two times when they could not get a room in the inn to have baby, for Christ to be born. Where were they? They were in Jerusalem. They went into Jerusalem, right?
Right.
All right. What they went into Jerusalem for?
Passover.
And two things. To pay their taxes. If you read the story, it will give you that. Probably, all right, we can't touch it. They went into Jerusalem. Well, no, we're dealing with the seventh month, so we're not going to touch it in this class. But in the first month, they went to pay their taxes. And there was a feast in Jerusalem. So it's two things in the 1 month. Hence you have this influx of people at Jerusalem. So all the inns were full because it was a big holiday. Passover was a big holiday for us. Because they have Jews coming from all over the world, right? Coming with their country's money and seeking it to change to the local money that was used in Jerusalem at the time. And you have the bankers' presence and so on and so forth. So from that time, taxes were paid in the beginning of the month. In the first month. Until this day. They haven't changed that. But they can find other ways to mess us up. Alright, so we said now the 7th month normally is important for us as a nation. You have 3 high holidays that falls within that 7th month. I want to check them for this year. It spans between September and October. So you don't even realize that the 3 high holidays fall in the same month. You don't even realize that. But let's look at take a biblical look at this month that we are going into. Some significant things that happen for us as a people during that time. The first one, before we even became a people, Genesis 8 and 4.
Genesis chapter 8, verse 4. And the ark rested in the 7th month, and the 17th day of the month, upon the mountain of Ararat.
Right, so this was when, this is Noah's flood, right? Right in this feast month of the 7th month. The ark rested. And I think this 17, by that time we have the feast of, I think that's atonement. I think it's atonement by that time. Or booth. One of them. I think it's booth by that time. Feast of booth. But anyways, by that time, even in that time, the Most High had these feast days. Because these feast days that the Most High gave to us, where did he get it from?
Where the Most High get it from?
Yeah. from his abode. From his abode, from heaven, that he is in. Same, remember now, when Christ gave us our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thine will be done on earth as it is in heaven. We had already started the process, you know. That's why he gave us the laws. When he gave Moses the 10 Commandments on Mount Ararat, that's what they were following in heaven. Right? And then the laws as it and as Moses write the laws and so on, it encompasses the 10 Commandments is the foundation from which all our laws came from. Right? Everybody understand that? All right. So by the time he gave us the holy days, the same thing happened in heaven. That is why thine will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Yeah, holy days, all those things. And when you read Revelation, you realize that it's the holy days that he counts, that is counted to give you those prophecies that is in Revelation. But you're not going to pick it up because the oppressor we have been cut off in all ways. Just remember that. In all ways. Trust me, when you start to delve deep in this book, in our Lord, you realize the real a-hole that the oppressor has shut us in. It's really a grave, you know, just like the Moses said, from the time of Ezekiel. And he mentioned it again in Revelation. Ezekiel 37, with a dry bone that was shut up in the grave, that was dead. Can these bones live? Huh? Yeah. You have read Ezekiel 37, right? Right. A boy here, you know. Oh. Anyways, a long time. I'm not going to read it now. Anyways, you find that he has lost us in everything. When you read Revelation, they tell you about the seven candlesticks. Yeah, you have to go back and explain that these are the 7 churches. But why use 7 candlesticks? Yes. What we use that is 7 candlesticks. Yeah.
In the temple, where it says the menorah.
Exactly. Yeah. And then he mentioned, in Revelation, he mentioned again the 2 olive trees. What's that? You know, he mentioned that in Revelation. You have read the book? Yeah, all right. Fine. Once you have read the book, you would have gotten it. That's the thing. You didn't pick it up. That's why it slipped you. I don't want to remember that you read it. But there's a part in Revelation. I don't remember the chapter. But it tells you about the 2 olive trees, which was the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. And then again, it tells you about the 2 witnesses. You remember that one? In, I think, Revelation 13 or 11, I think. It was Revelation 11. Where it tells about the 2 witnesses who was killed, and after 3.5 days, they were made alive. And they start witnessing again. And the 2 witnesses is who? Exactly. The northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. Christ spoke of the prodigal son coming back home. So it was two sons. And that marked the northern and southern. Again, he spoke of the Good Samaritan, which was the northern again and the southern kingdom. So, right through the Bible where the Most High is, that's why you have to. And you know what is the worst thing about it? You say, who have you in captivity? Understand. The Most High might not reveal everything to them, but they understand more than we. Not we in the UPK now, but when we were out there in the world, he understood more than us. That's why he can be killing them. You see, kills them, let them kill backs. And you see, come on in General YAHANNA video last night, same thing happening in France. You know what it is? Same thing in France, which means it's the same thing in Europe. How can they be doing this and getting away with it? Because they understand. The cops that is out there doing it don't know them. But the authority that is not holding them accountable understand. That's why they allow them to do that. Right? Everybody understand that. So the entire Bible is centered around us from Genesis to Revelation. You read and you wonder, who is these two witnesses? Well, if you end up in Jehovah's Witness, they will tell you that they are the witness. It's them. They will tell you that. That's what Jehovah's Witness is built from. That they are the witness who was dead and now alive. Which in a way, it is not, it's speaking about the northern and the southern kingdom. Well, it's the same thing with our I.O.L.D.s. In order to last us with those I.O.L.D.s, let us change the calendar. So some of the month, I mean, the beginning of the month, beginning of the year is all the way down in January, February, March, April, the fourth month. So they let the year begin midwinter, which is their pagan thing they use to override our days, because these feast days and things we probably would have been awakened before, long before now. They didn't hide us in all these ways. So you look out there, you see no archaeology with us. You see no ordinances that surround us, which is the I.O.L.D.s and so on. They call, they call it holiday rather than holy day. You see? Yes.
And then our archaeology.
Yeah.
I really do one brother with you, when you need to handle some paper.
Yeah.
You know, Egypt, Egypt.
Right.
But there's some woman that want to talk about foreigners come to pull out food. Mark. Yeah. Anyway.
Because the Smithsonian's hide it. Right.
I.S.U.P.K can confirm sources where our archaeology was found. But it is what the way you said, there's an agenda for archaeology.
And then you find that with the universities in the states that they label what's the fancy word they use again? I think it's the top 7 universities. They call them Ivy League. Those Ivy League universities, they have textbooks written from our archaeological findings, which point to who the blacks in America are and the blacks of the West Indies, who they are, and the Puerto Ricans, the Cubans, who they are. It's not by chance that these people are the ones who are being oppressed. Other nations in the world are given a pass. The war with the Vietnamese, how long? Vietnamese are given a pass.
Right.
But we are not. Understand? Anything you come up with, you know, they're going to shot it. Just mash up. Yeah? Because it's all about keeping us below. Eh? Not to get you back into yeah, well, not you. Yeah. All this space exploration, where you thinking from? Yeah, man, they want to find Christ. Go and meet him where he's at before he come. That's true.
That's not much worse idea than you can think of.
Yeah, man. If you're that road and your piece of drug around that yard, you're going to try to get you before you come. I try to get you before you come. Ah, so they want to take the battle to where Christ abode, but they are the search, they can't find it. Also, the Most High did say, if they are able to search out all the heavens, all the earth, all the seas before Christ returns, then Israel will be cut off forever. Yep. Impossible. But Christ, the Most High knows it's impossible that they need. So that's why he made that challenge. And they are, trust me, they're working on it, man. Yeah, man, they're working on it, man.
Every great thing that they find any other country or any other value about, so I look here hidden anywhere, they go search it up and try to find things and say, what is going?
Yeah, and they also find knowledge. All right, when they went to Iraq, George was sending to Iraq. James City. Iraq innocently have these ancient relics as tourist attraction in their museum. And what happened? They saw them, know what they are, and they don't even make Iraq know that they would like them. Just make war with them. SHALAM. They just make war with them and take the relics. Syria, one of the oldest cities, oldest monarch, no, he's not a monarch again, oldest country. The other day when they invaded Syria, what did they do? Yeah? All right, which was in Nineveh. And the town of Nineveh, the city of Nineveh was still there. I think those was forgotten places. But supposed to know. And what happened? Probably the Syrians saw it as tourist attraction. Yeah, because it was tourists who go there and they showed them the statue of Jonah. Yeah. And they went and desecrated. Why? Because obviously Jonah don't look like a white man. If that statue is in any way resemble the white, it would not have been destroyed. Relics that were there. So they're trying every way to erase. But we have made so many marks in this world. That is why in Revelation again, I think it was the beast opened its mouth and flood of water came out to wash away the woman, but the earth opened its mouth and saved the woman. Hmm? You see, you have to understand these. You have to really delve into the Bible so that you can get to understand these metaphors, these parables, and so on that Bible and that the Bible is around. Because even though the oppressor know that it's about you, it's not everything in it they understand. They don't understand everything. But they understand enough to keep you in darkness. And guess what? We in the UPK understand enough to awake our people. I will give thanks to the Most High for that. To keep. There's nothing in there that UPK can understand, cannot explain. Understand enough to keep to awake our people. Now, these holidays were given to us. And it's important that we understand them. Keep them and understand them because everything else in the Bible rotates on this, Yeah. You read in the book of Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, and they say, on the so and so day of the so and so month they gathered. And they wonder and say, okay, we don't know why. It was a feast. Just like when Mary and Joseph went into Jerusalem. It's after understanding all of these, then we realize that they went there for the feast of the Passover and to pay their taxes. Because Herod was the one. Well, the Romans were the ones that were over us by that time. Yeah. Even when it was close to Christ's crucifixion. Tax time again. When they came and Christ said, "All right, more to see. Only pay taxes." Yeah, I wish I could have that privilege too. So, at what time were they paying taxes? Beginning of the year. All right. Now let's look at these high holidays. Leviticus 23 to 25. Yeah. 23 to 25.
Leviticus 23, verse 23. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 24, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, in the first day of the month, shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of the trumpet, and holy convocation.
All right, so it's this first day of the month.
Yeah.
So, it is first day of the month at sundown.
Verse 25. He shall do no servile work therein, but he shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
All right. Just like when you just come in the truth and they say, on the 17th day of September, we'll have Feast of the Burn of Trumpet. You just come in the truth now. So, yeah, today is September 7th. So why are we not having it? But it begins at sundown.
Yeah.
All right. So it's from sundown to sundown. That's one day. Because in the Bible, from Genesis, it says, and the evening and the morning was the second day or the third day or whichever, right? So it shows you how to number the days. The evening to the morning.
The night comes.
Which is night and the day. The night begins the day. It was midnight, close the day. Midnight to midnight.
And 12 o'clock in the night, at 12 a.m. And 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
12 p.m.
According to how they set the change of the calendar, that's how the calendar to that place.
Yes, but all these were delivered. Down to I.U.P.K. Because fasting. When Christians say they are fast, how do they fast?
For morning, evening.
Right.
And then drink water.
All right. So they don't understand that the fast is really from sundown to sundown. So that's one way of hiding us. When you read the Bible again, you realize that fasting was an integral part of Israel. And we did not fast only on the day of atonement. We fast other times. You have individuals who did regular fasts to keep themselves in tune with the Most High. Nothing is wrong with that. So they did not wait until the day of atonement to be fast. Like when they read Esther, they did it. I think they did it in Nehemiah or somewhere there too. Anytime the nation wants to answer to seek something from the Most High, they are fast. Right? But our oppressor, if you follow his timeline, you won't be fasting the right way. This Feast of Trumpet, if we follow Esau's timeline, we won't be following the feast as we should. Right. So,
Servile work herein, but he shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
and what do you mean by servile work?
Like a job, like work you get paid. But
Right, no service. That's servile. You're serving.
yeah.
So you're not supposed to do no serving work therein, but you're in Esau's work. Sometimes you have to, when this time comes, you have to keep it at work.
Right.
Unless you're in a position where you can take a day off. If you can, you do it. But if you can't, what are you going to do? You are in a position of servitude now. You understand?
Yeah.
So you have to keep it while you're on the job. What are the toughest one to keep while you're on the job? It should be a atonement. Yes, and you're working and not eating. And you don't eat from the day before you go to work. Oh, yeah, I'm telling you, the Libor. Yeah. All right. So that's Feast of Trumpet. That is the seventh day. The next one, no, Day of Atonement. Continue, 26.
Oh, 26. Verse 26. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 27. Also, on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls, and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Black one. You shall make on the 10th day of the 7th month. So on the first day you have Feast of Trumpet, and on the 10th day you have Day of Atonement, which is a holy convocation unto you, which would have been on, put it in Esau terms, it would have been on holiday. Right? But we don't say, we didn't say holiday, we say holy day. So whenever we have holidays, would be days that we don't go work. Right? And that's how they did it for, they copy us and make it for their false god. And come to me. Back on. Hello. Watch what you said each time. All right, so
Yeah, the option for resume. Okay.
Hold on. We talk to you. Not talk about things. We should just come up here. No, don't see. All right. I will show you to see like that. Hello, assistant.
Yeah.
Deny. That's not what it is. Then I resume. Look at it come up again. Here, all right. So the Day of Atonement fall in the 7th month again. And read the importance of the Day of Atonement. We shall afflict our souls. Right? That is what, 27 reads. Continue.
And ye shall afflict your soul, and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. Verse 28. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement. To make an atonement for you before the Lord your God.
So do we have, as the nation, as people, outside of what is here, do we have any day in Esau time that we say we go before God? They try to make us do it on Christmas time and Easter time.
Yeah.
But it's not, you're going on to Easter time, you're going to Easter. And Christmas time, you're going to Nimrod. Yeah. They don't go to Christ at any time.
Yeah.
So much so that they put in Nimrod trees now right up there on the I would use the altar and the podium. In the church. Mm. No, sir.
Christians never acknowledge Christmas them time.
Yes, but like them things that goes with it, like them decoration and so, they never used to have it in the church. Because some understood from the writing of Jeremiah that the Moses, especially the pastors, all of them know that Jeremiah spoke against the tree. They know that. I mean, if they know. Yeah.
Maybe through the I.S.U.P.K.
No. They read the Bible and see it. It's right there. It's straightforward. But it's a presumption because the Moses has kept silent for over 400 years now. They take it that Moses don't business if they do it or not. Understand? Continue.
Another one's gone. Verse 39. For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people.
See? That's important.
Yeah.
If you never keep it, there are exemptions in it. If you're sick, if you're a nursing mother, if you're a child, the most I don't expect you to keep it.
Yeah.
But you're fit and able and you don't keep it. You're cut off from among the people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 30. And whatsoever soul it be that does any work in that same day, the same soul will I destroy from among his people.
That you're doing it, you probably could die. That's all you're destroying. 31.
Verse 31. He shall do no manner of work. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generation in all your dwellings.
Right. So everywhere we live, we should be keeping it.
Right.
Whether you live in the land or you live like we are now living elsewhere, you are expected to keep these only these. Continue.
Verse 32. It shall be unto you a Sabbath of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls. In the 9th day of the month, at evening, from evening unto evening, shall ye celebrate your Sabbath.
Right. So, evening to evening of atonement. Make sure you give it that clear. But because it don't say fasting, some in the church might read it and wonder what the atonement is. Yeah.
Yes. You know that thing that Muslims them do. They chop themselves in the butt.
Muslims are Catholic.
We never see Catholic. Some Muslims like Arabs. Some Arabs. The video we see Arabs. Chop themselves in some lassa. In them back, bust out them back and all them things. We see one in a week last week. Chop him down.
Well, I know the Catholics, the other group, you know, there are many out. There was one which you saw it in a movie there. The people didn't even know that there was such a thing. They found him. And whenever I go in and he was going into service and everything went wrapping leg and he peeing on himself. That's how the nuns atone for the sins of the congregation too. Which in a way, atoning, be atoning to the Most High, just people be know if you want full day. Must be. Atoning is fasting. A full day of fast. It's not 3 days fast. It's a full day of fast. You drink neither food nor water. But Esau has his agenda. And his agenda is to erase you, to erase us. Because by erasing us, he stands. All right. So that's it on atonement. So in the 7th month, that's 2 feast days, trumpet atonement, there's another one.
Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, 15 days of this 7th month shall be the feast of tabernacle. So, for 7 days unto the Lord.
All right. 15 days of this 7th month again. Continue. On the
15 days of this 7th month shall be the feast of tabernacle for 7 days unto the Lord.
all right.
Verse 35. And the first day shall be an holy convocation. He shall do no servile work therein.
All right. First day of what?
Of the feast of tabernacle.
All right. Not the first day of the month.
Yeah.
So you're keeping it for 7 days, right?
Good.
And the first of the 7 days, you have a holy convocation. And what's a holy convocation? A gathering. Where all the men, in particular, it was the men that was counted. Whenever there is to be a holy convocation, the woman may attend, but you must attend. Why?
Why in general?
In regard to not just the feast of booth, but any feast. Yeah.
Because our scripture was said, pluck up my pastors and men.
That's one, but not the main one.
Yeah.
Really? All right. During the time of her separation, she's counted as unclean and not expected to go in the temple. So she was not held up. She could have, and that separation can be the monthly thing, could be childbirth, right? But for you, what would it be? Unless you are sick. Maybe you are a man, but you were leprous at that time. You are unclean. Or you were going through some other sickness which deem you unclean. You are excused then. You're not expected to go. But other than that, you are fit and able. You're expected to be there. Not a if about or maybe. You're expected to be in that congregation. So all the men of Israel gathering on that day, and all the women, children who can do it. Can you imagine how temple full that day? Come on. Mass. This is how the Most High loves to see us. As one. But all the tribes, especially the male in the tribe, gathering to celebrate Him in worship, in celebration of these high holy. Right? All right, continue.
Verse 35. 7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire to the Lord. On the 8th day shall be an holy convocation unto you, and ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein.
All right, so they talk about an offering made by fire. What is it talking about?
Sacrifice.
A sacrifice? Yeah, you have to do your sacrifice. But what else?
Offering made by fire.
Mm-hmm.
Put it on the altar and burn. That's it.
All right, read that. What number are you read right about?
30.
All right. Read 37.
Verse 37. These are the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, a burnt offering and a meat offering, a sacrifice and drink offering, everything upon its day.
All right. So this is talking about you making that burnt offering to the Lord. And what else?
Meat offering,
Uh-huh.
a sacrifice and drink offering.
Uh-huh. Which is eat and drink and be merry.
Yeah.
That feast, that food that you would have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Christmas time, what them they should have? Christmas dinner. The Easter dinner. The Thanksgiving turkey. That's why in Amos I say I will not smell in your solemn assembly.
Yeah.
He's talking about that feast that you want to set your holy day. Not follow his. For instance, when we should be doing Passover, we're doing Easter.
Yeah.
And we want to cook our Easter dinner and so on and pray over it and tell God to accept it. But we're not doing Passover. Christmas, we want to have our feast and say we're doing it for the birth of Christ.
Yeah.
Understand?
Jesus.
Right. Jesus born midwinter. And you want to tell the Most High to accept it. So that's why I say, I will not smell in your soul. Yeah. I.S.U.P.K goes back to Egypt. Not under that name. Nimrod was before our captivity in Egypt. And that was the Babylon before the one that took us captive. Babylon is a whole superior. Yeah.
Alright, Babylon was a long time.
Yeah.
And what they do?
Hold on. When Egypt was ruling the world,
yeah.
Babylon was around it.
Okay.
But it wasn't permanent.
Yeah. So, long time Babylon coming and Nimrod time. If them rebuild, breed it over time, and still it never totally wiped out.
Exactly. Never time it never.
Okay.
No.
And we have two different cases in Babylon.
Same one.
Okay.
And then the most I put Nebuchadnezzar and the Babylon throne. That wasn't the beginning of Babylon. The most I gave him that seat on the throne. And then he started to look and praise himself. And the most I make him go eat grass like cow for 7 days. 7 years. Until he realized that his mental faculties came to his worship to the God of heaven. Right? And that was the setting of when Daniel get the vision with the statue. That was the setting of it now as the city that is going to be our beating. They are going to be the beating stick unto Israel. So it's God said, it's the most I set everything. There's nothing here that is done which is nothing. Shall there be evil in this city and is not the Lord that has done it? You know that first?
Right.
No, and Google it.
Fine.
No?
Yeah.
I don't know. You have to find. There are more than we want to speak here, so we're not going to find that.
Yeah.
We're dealing with this 7th now. So, continue. The most I establishing is control, is holy days. What do we know? 30, 38? Alright. So, the holy days we're supposed to eat and drink and be merry. That's what the most I want to see. Continue.
Verse 38. Beside the Sabbath of the Lord, and beside your gifts, and beside all your vows, and beside all your free will offerings, which ye give unto the Lord.
Go on.
Verse 39. Also in the 50th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days, and the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath.
Right. So it's a holiday that's using Esau term. It's a holiday on the first 7 days, holiday on the first day, and a holiday on the 7th day, right? So that means 2 holidays for that piece of moon. And those holidays is not have a holy convocation. You have your hands up?
Yes, I do.
What happened to you? You can make up too much noise. Yeah. All right. Sometimes we learn about trust me, the heat is so overwhelming sometimes. You know the little mobile AC? How much one? Just one. Oh, you know, that's how AC came about. They used to have the fan and the hot day, put the block of ice before it, and the fan blow the cool air off the ice. That's what came about it. And then some smart person after them find out refrigeration. They find that they can set this freezing coil that would be in the fridge and put a fan behind the freezing coil and blow the air from the freezing coil. And then the water that it would drip over time, they find a way to leave it out so that it don't destroy the equipment. And before split unit. The window unit. The AC where they push through the window, half in and half out. That is the one that is mostly used in the States. More than split unit. Why? It gives heat. Split unit don't give you heat enough. But the window unit gives you heat. And it gives you cool air. Like your car AC. Just like your car AC. We have the heater and the cool air. But the split unit don't give you that. Alright, so this Feast of Booths and the other Feast of this month is very important unto the Most High. Because a Feast of Booths is where it reminds you where you're coming from. Hey, you little nigga, remember where you're coming from. When they're ready to fly up in the Most High Feast. Remember some of the cars of the Filipino booth. You know, this is something else.
Take you on the first day, the boughs of goodly tree, branches of palm tree, and the boughs of thick tree, and willows of the brook. And ye shall rejoice before the Lord your God 7 days.
Look at this. What that reminds you of? Which other thing in the Bible reminds you of? When Christ was on the donkey going in, and they had the palm trees and boughs of goodly trees, and they put it before the donkey. And he was going. So he was going in and what? He was going to Jerusalem in what? What time? The Feast of Booths. Because in Easter or Passover, that's not what we do. So the Feast of Booths, that's what we do. Christ was going in Jerusalem at the Feast of Booths. Continue reading.
Verse 41. And ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generation. Ye shall celebrate it in the 7th month.
Just people over and come back. Bring that. Gone out of the way down. That was part of what? 1?
Answer.
It shall be a statute. Something. Um, 41. It shall be a statute.
It shall be a statute forever in your generation. Ye shall celebrate it in the 7th month. Verse 42. Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths.
So even the picnic, let the whole sons of dwell in booths, which is up the Father. Yeah, they are.
Still dwell in booths.
We live in booths now, them get a house waiting them in. some boat boots and some. Yeah, man, he's put in them permanent and call it ghetto.
43. Verse 43. That your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God.
Right. So when we were in the wilderness, that's what we lived. Those tents. That's what it's all about. It's a it's a feast, a convocation, and a feast to remember that period of time. And for 40 years we lived in booths. We didn't have elaborate houses. We had houses which I remember we were we weren't one place in the wilderness. We were moving around. So you have to have houses that could move around with you, which are tents. So this I only did Feast of Booths is to remember that period of time. Who was it that was there? The children of Israel. The only thing was that coming out of Egypt, our Israelite women who had married other nations, men, their children came. Not so this time. This time when he sift. That's why I say he's going to sift us. Which means, do Israelite women who are marrying other nations? The children won't make it. It's the children that are of the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So the woman, she can make it, but not those bastards. They are of another nation. And when you read the problem that Moses had, it was these people. Yeah, the other nation that we went and joined ourselves with, their kids who weren't Israelites, but their mother was. Right. Same time when Nehemiah was rebuilding Jerusalem, they had problems with them.
High complexion.
Yeah, that's one. And when you're going through your curses, because they are not Israelite, they live among you, they're not going into curses. So they are risen above you. They're dark like you, they have a little like you, nappy ear, but they are not Israelite. It might be Hamite, it might be some other race, any other race. Like who? Mm-hmm.
Father, why?
But in that, I'm probably not going through the separation that we going through. Father was privileged to have left something for him, or something like that, right? There are some of them who, unfortunate, go through it, and it is also the tide beginning to turn. The separation that we used to go through, you're going to put it on the other nation. It is beginning to happen. Corona. Something tells me that we just see the beginning of Corona. We see it. One winter don't come yet. And America have their election right in the winter. So if there is a spread, I know when you're in the winter, the cold is harder for you to get rid of the common cold during winter. That is why the common cold during the winter kills thousands of people. You are aware of that? Thousands of people. So think, huh? Flu season, right? But think of that coupled with corona. Mm. Thank you. And the flu that is going around. Terribly, you know. You have a terrible flu going around. It's not the hot flu, but it's terrible. Pain in your chest and so on. Similar, well, I suppose the corona pain you more. Can you imagine if this thing came about when chikungunya was going around? Chikungunya that pain you up so much and then you get corona with that one. All right.
When chikungunya just come in, have it done never do and we go to family because when we are work a morning time, so the feel the whole of my back and the whole of my body are pain me. I'm here to chew me a walk.
You never realize it was it, but I felt the pain.
Yes, and I feel some pain and I feel a walk. And I feel like we are not chat.
Right. So where what? Father phone? Read 42 and 44.
Verse 43. That your generations may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord their God.
Right.
Verse 44. And Moses declared unto the children of Israel the feast of the Lord.
Exactly. So who gave Moses these feasts? Exactly, the Most High did. All right, go to Second Chronicles 7, 4 to 10.
Second Chronicles chapter 4. Chapter 7 verse 4. Then the king and all the people offered sacrifices before the Lord.
All right, so this was when Solomon built the temple, and it was, I think it was finished now. So he had the dedication of the temple. Continue. The king and all the people offered sacrifices. That king was Solomon. Go on.
Chapter 4, verse 5. And King Solomon offered a sacrifice of 22,000 oxen.
There's so much cows in king. 22,000. Continue.
And 120,000 sheep.
120,000 sheep. Mm-hmm. I know we're not going to we say a chicken. Because we have a feast. No sheep.
All the people dedicated the house of God.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 6. And the priests waited on their offices. The Levites also the instrument of music of the Lord, which David the king had made to praise the Lord, because his mercy endureth forever.
All right, so it was David. Remember when they were bringing down the ark and David dancing and he was drop off? Bringing it. I remember he was also a very good harp player. He was a musician. So he used it to bring it in the temple to worship the Most High. And his son kept it. Continue.
When David prayed by their ministry, and the priests sounded trumpets before them, and all Israel stood.
Right. Go on.
Verse 7. Moreover, Solomon allowed the middle of the court that was before the house of the Lord, for there he offered burnt offerings and the fat of the peace offering because the brazen altar which Solomon had made was not able to receive the burnt offering and the meat offering and the fat.
All right, so the celebration also big. The regular altar in the temple alone couldn't work. They had to come out to the court. Big event in Israel at that time.
Yes. Also, at the same time, Solomon kept the feast 7 days, and all Israel with him. A very great congregation from the entering in of Amat unto the river of Egypt. Kept the dedication of the altar 7 days. Verse 10. And on the 3 and 20th day of the 7th month, he sent the people away into their tents, glad and merry in heart for the goodness that the Lord had shown unto David. And to
all right, so that was what? The 3 and 20th of the 23rd day. The 23rd day of the 7th month. Right? It was the concluding there. It begins on what? The 15th. 15th day. So they kept it 7 days. So the 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. And on the 23rd day, send them out. Continue.
And to Solomon and to Israel's people.
Where oh, that's the end of 10. Right. So he dedicated the temple in the 7th month, right? During it was dedicated and he was keeping. That's why it says, where is it? In 9, and on the 8th day they made a solemn assembly, for they kept, listen, the dedication of the altar 7 days and the feast 7 days. So it was a feast of food and the dedication of the altar at the same time. You understand what I'm saying in the Bible? Okay. Can't take too long in order to come up. Can't take too long. So, but you don't understand that it was right in the time of the Feast of Booths. Understand?
Yeah, and all them kind of stuff. All the Feast of Booths that talking about this kind of situation.
No, he kept it at that time. He just said, all right, Feast of Booths coming up, we can dedicate the temple at the same time. He kept it that time. Prior to that, remember you would have 2 feasts before that. Which 2? Yeah, within the same month. It's not dedication, booth, before the booth. No, not dedication. Trumpet. Trumpet and atonement. The feast of dedication that we know, all of the holiday, that comes from Maccabees. During the time of Maccabees, when the Grecians destroyed the temple and will rebuild it, and rebuild the altar because they're going to sacrifice people on the altar, and remove the stones and come back and rebuild it, right? And then they had a time that they dedicated the temple. That's a different dedication. than this one. This one was on the temple, was first built, whole lining and whole cups. The thing. Yes. Right, right, exactly. But you see how large it was, how much thousand oxen and how much thousand sheep. That's how much to feed the people. So all you do, you need to present yourself. The king provided food that was shared daily. And Israel can't eat already. To be eating so many oxen and so many sheep during that time. I know some managed water probably in that too, with some other fish part of the cow corridor and so on and so forth. I mean, with that. But one of the reasons probably why the most I had us eating so many roasted food. When you roast the meat now, you can some parts get burned, right? Right? To the point like charcoal. When you're eating it, you taste the burn part. You know what good charcoal is for your bloodstream? Does for your bloodstream? Yes. Yeah. Much as you can go buy charcoal in the pharmacy. Yeah. Guess what it's for? Take the poison and poison that could be in your system. Yeah. Charcoal is, huh? It pull it from the bloodstream and put it in your excretory section of your body. Maybe that's why I had us eating so many roasted meat. Because at that time we didn't have science to as it is now. Esau wasn't among us to go and do his thing. Even though I strongly believe that the science thing really come from Esau. Yeah. But we didn't have it then. So it's the food that you eat and the worshiping at the temple. Because if you notice our practices were to keep us clean. The washing us daily. And clothes and your body. Right? The face mask. Face mask come from us. It's right there in Leviticus. Remember we did it one other day. Yeah, we found it in Leviticus. But that was worn for what? Which have the sickness? Leprosy. We had face mask for leprosy. But that was us anyway. So the same face mask thing that we have now for corona. You have to isolate and they tell you, and the most in the curse, one of the curses in Leviticus 20, I think that's 6, where it says, we not keeping his laws and statutes, when we gather together, then he shall send the pestilence among us. Same thing with the corona. It is spread when you gather together. So they talk about social distancing. So our laws was to keep us clean. Just the way we carry ourselves daily, remove diseases and possible sickness that you don't know about. And the way we eat, the way we worship the Most High, kept us clean. But then you might get in a chicken and a situation because you have to be clean in order to be in the presence of the Most High anyway. But also be in the presence of the Most High also kept you clean. And there is no disease in that mix when you come before the Most High. All right. Let's go down. 11.
verse 11, and all that came into Solomon's heart to make in the house of the Lord and in
our palace. So you know that is an elaborate building. Continue.
He prosperously effected. Verse 12. And the Lord appeared to Solomon by night and said unto him, I have heard thy prayer and have chosen this place to myself for an house of sacrifice. Verse 13. If I shut up heaven that there be no rain, or if I command the locusts to devour the land, or if I send pestilence among my people. Verse 14.
So you see the three things that the Most High used to destroy when we go on wayward. One, drought. Remember that long drought we had in Jamaica about 9 months? Huh? Because when I'm a farmer, why not do it? I wasn't a farmer, but a couple of years back, man, to the point where they start, and it was happening regularly, where they start to tell the kids go down there. What they can only use the water. It must not be seen using the water to wash your vehicle. Because they don't have water for that. Because the dam that feeds Kingston depend on a daily inflow of water. And the rain wasn't falling. Had to suffice for such time. But with thanks to the Most High, we're getting more regular rainfall now. All right, we are at verse 1.
Verse 14.
Right, so he used drought and what else?
And if my people,
Locusts and which is diseases. Don't give them you disease. That's what he does. Continue.
called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked way. Then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sins and will heal their land.
Right, so that was for us. His people was called by his name. Right.
Verse 15. No mine eyes unto the prayer that is made.
This place be placed. My eyes are open and my ears will attend to these prayers. That is promised to Solomon. Continue.
Verse 16. For now have I chosen and sanctified this house, that my name may be there forever, and mine eyes and mine heart shall be there perpetually.
Right. Who broke that promise? The Most High promised that to us. Who broke it?
We, sir.
The Most High didn't break it, we did. The Most High has never broken one of his promises unto us. Always we, with our little knuckleheads, listening to the other nation and believing that they know what they are saying. Yeah, because then coming to you with so that make you sound.
I think that when them doing a film terms and turn on how I want and put it in there. So, in their terms.
Yeah, to hide the truth from continue.
Verse 17. And as for thee, if thou wilt walk before me, as David thy father walked, and do according to all that I have commanded thee, and shall observe my statutes and my judgment.
All right, so as for thee, he's talking to who?
Solomon.
So the Most High here now is making his promise directly to Solomon. As for you, if you walk before me as David their father did, and do according to all that I have commanded, and that all that he has commanded would be found in the Lord. He didn't give Solomon a separate command from which he gave Israel. So when he said all that I have commanded, he's referring to what he gave Moses. Right? And shall observe my statutes and my judgment. Continue.
Verse 18. Then according as I have covenanted with David thy father, saying, there shall not fail thee a man to be ruler in Israel.
All right, so you know what that means, what he's saying there. That promise to David, yeah.
But basically, the king lineage will come through here. David is our great truth.
Yeah, but he said, there shall not fail thee a man to be a ruler. Meaning what? You are going to have sons, and your sons will always have sons to be a ruler. You remember just recently in Japan, with the Japan king, they were seeking to change the law. All right, the Japan law says, what's the name again? The Ammonite. The Ammonite law says it's only the man can be ruler on the throne. But for years, the king has been getting children and his daughters. So they were thinking of changing the law to say, well, a woman can become a ruler on the throne too. But just as they were thinking about it, Babs are so far. Okay, we don't need to bother. One son now come like an egg. So, even during this corona time, can you imagine how they quarantine that one son? I'm there with that bubble. So the Most High's promise unto David was that you shall not fear, and your sons will have sons and sons and sons. Eternity to be on the throne. So that is why in the time of Christ, when we were ruling ourselves from the throne, some bastards were on the throne, right?
Right.
But they were still able to come the lineage. Christ's father Joseph was to be a king. But because his throne wasn't there, he was a carpenter. Christ was next in line to be king. Now, if this is true, then you see why Christ has to return. Christ has no son. So it means that the throne would have been cut off from Christ. But we know better than that. Scriptures, our own scriptures, speak of David, and to make with him 144,000 rulers and priests. So no male shall fear Israel. I so much of them killing them. Police, Planned Parenthood, and other things. Plus we killing each other. See? That's why the Most High had to make us like stars of heaven. Because trust me, the mortality rate is high. Right? Yeah.
You know, when you feel, sir, it's when, not when you feel, I mean, no, sir, it's when you act, when you're giving out the fires and you act most, like the man them from the road, sir, and tell them about the abortion of the children, sir. Them must say a real thing, sir, but those people are always with negative things and so on. The other one, them, when they dress up like them, a go over, them must say rap, sir. So, you know, so it's like, so me I say, the person them way think would have think positive about certain things, and I find them think negative. And the one them way I think negative and it's positive, sir.
So which one of the things you would be thinking negative?
The ones them that go into the
Work?
works. Yes.
Oh.
And
So you
the
thought the
other
man on the corner would be the one thinking positive?
yes, and the abortion side, sir. Because most of them are saying that a true man for human being that's what thing. And I want to know when they are getting making the money, them saying like abortion right because they can steal money they're not behind that much people.
Yeah, but if you look on the money, so why you think if the working man will tell us you should not abort when he's going to work and feeling the pressure? You know, say, yeah man, she can abort if she want. The man on the roadside not doing much thing.
But him have nothing to do with that food and fire.
Well, him have somewhere in our mind, so I can't. The man them try to take care of them. I want to tell you say I change the tide, change. Really? Well, it's not our culture. It's not culture as a Benjamin to really get wayward and don't take care of us. Which is why even in the States, we go to the States, maybe you find a couple and them put on child support. But the majority of them what? A minority, yes. But when you highlight the minority, you will look. Yeah. The majority of men take care of their children. But guess what? All right. We are supposed to keep the Most High peace and things forever. Now, if there come a period of time where we keep it for 200 years. 200 years when you kept it to the Most High, said, well, you have kept it for 200 years, so I can overlook the 10 years. No, it's not like that. So that is why the minority of the bad ones supersede the good ones. Everyone come out in, I think it was General Mahayama when they were talking about Black Lives Matter, and they said it's made up of gays and lesbians. And you know, like some people that say, good people in it too much. And I say, all right. How many gays do you think you would allow to be around? How much you would allow to be around? Eh? None. So if there's one, it's a big thing. It's a big thing if there's one.
Yeah, but the picture as this, you know, black man on a food. Black woman and black man.
The women they know better, man. They know the man. Yeah, because all right, you see most of those who you hear speak, few of them, the majority of them speak over them here. Yeah.
So say man, because they can't take care of it every time. Have it, you are free. They don't know where I get it.
Right.
You know better life to go.
Right.
And every time they have a up. Then
right.
the man will take that as an excuse. So
all right.
You remember the couple of years you have to do like that thing.
And you know our judges start, you know. Right. You know, they say, you know, when the woman I can't put me for child support out here again. Yeah, it carry in. In case finish. Case finish.
Them will make sure it's in pay. When they are paying, more time you have to
Yeah.
More than you can buy man eat and still have to give it.
Yeah, they have some back money.
No, man, back money keep that.
Yeah, man, yeah, they have some back money. But watch it go now.
Different thing.
No, watch it go. They did a study, a survey, how much it would reasonably take to take care of a child per week. Let's say for argument's sake, they came up with $3,000. They say, okay, $3,000 can take care of, $3,000 per week can take care of a child. You know what they do? Split it. Oops. Start telling you one day, you find 1.5.
Okay. She's right.
There was a time when his burden was fully on you, the man. So you find that less women go, because, it makes sense. When they go before the court with a bill and say, Your Honor, the picnic is sick and this and that, and the whole thing come up to $70,000. So I say, okay, yes, this did happen, so your $70,000 is what it really took. Sir, you have to find 35,000. You go find it. Put your hand up, blah, 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 blah. Go walk. That's what the judges start to do. Why? I will get most of the better job than them. Exactly. So luckily for us, we don't have TISA in that being so hands-on on that. Trust me. See, like how they put man and child support in over there, it will reach a lot of our men out. We don't have child support in like that. Where you have they hunt you down, find where you're working, and if you say you're behind $20,000, and you finally find a job, and your pay is $20,000, and of course, what you do like you get nothing. That's how child support is going in America. Yeah. And guess what? All right, if you reach a warrant, they're going to knock you. I know say those are female judges who first start doing it. Start going to pay 50-50. I think it was in Portia time. But there was a female judge who started, and she gave her story. She said her father never take care of her. And she deliberately became a judge to go hard on the men. But after becoming a judge, after she has become a judge, and she see what is happening, she realized that the women are being unfair onto the men. And then the court now, at that time, the DNA thing, most men at that time went before the courts because the paternity was in question. And the other man thinking, I'm not mind. So the DNA thing comes. 60% of those who were sent to the DNA to prove that the man was correct. 60%. Not even 50-50. 60%. So the woman then now stop the raffling thing. You ever hear about that? Yeah. Is either you used to lock up in a your house or you're too young? Which one? Same way like said raffle putting names them in a bad man.
But she was alright, and a man chew off and I really
sometimes it go like that. But when you're not sure, oh, and then they think also then a DJ, then we use a DJ about it too. Yeah, man. Well, guess what now? Is the DNA thing now, but then have to start and so on. You don't know she have a man. And she ever tell us that she don't have it. And as far as you know, every time when you say, yeah, I want to see you, she come. So you might look and say, if she had a boyfriend, if she had a man, exactly, but she knew how to get around it. And then now, you find out that she have a man. And at the same time you find out that she have a man, he is also pregnant. What do you think of that? The paternity now is in question. So you can see why in our laws we kept whoredom out of the society. We are not doing that now. But it was a case where we have the paternity of the child must not be in question. That is shame. Yeah. You can imagine one general going to the king attack. Eh? I don't get an illegitimate you know, on the throne. That's a coup, isn't it? That's a coup. It happened in our society, but not in the on the throne of David. There's no such regard. Because up until certain times we were able to, but when they are, because we are governed by other nations. Hello, our laws are strict. Many men come in the U.P.K. Why that road are too rough for me and then gone. And guess what? We're not even governing ourselves. So imagine if we were governing ourselves, what they would be like. Hmm? Our laws are strict, man. And our laws are no wars. It's there for a reason. Watch in America, paternity courts. And look how much black people have to go. Exactly. Why? It's either it is that they broadcast mostly with blacks, or that is really the trend. I do it is. Eh? No, you have to agree still to be in that court. You know. So you think it is as prevalent in the other nation? Exactly. I don't think so. Because there are some things that comes with poverty. And that is one thing. If the woman is a poor thing, should I really raffle the baby? Hmm? She wouldn't. First thing she would say, well, I mean, I know my father and but I'm very rich, we can't take care of him. Just give. And they used to do that. Just give it to the child, the grandmother, the grandfather, and half year old. Kind of too sure why that is. Right? But in the streets, in the ghetto, that it comes down to a raffle. Mm-hmm. Yes, man, Michael Manley give a whole heap of society people jackets. Yeah. You know that? Prime Minister Michael Manley, me not afraid to talk. I choose something. I'm not picking here about the way that I know. Former Jamaican Prime Minister. Implicated. And I didn't start it and cut out the bastard thing. People we didn't have little pride coming out of slavery. Yeah, man. Yes, man. Really? What? So he said, they The raffle thing wipe out now. Modern time. Mm. All right, let's continue. Let's continue. And you know, another way they found out the real sinful nation of our ways of our people, migration. In the for migration. Who migrated and said, yeah, you know, I have to take up the children and look at 6 youth at Jamaica, you know. I take them out. Not one is. You know how heart wrenching that is? But some of them say, why, you know, I mean, mind them children. So they go and they do adoption and still take them out. And you know, what the worst thing, the woman know, you know. The woman know, you know. They know. Because one, they will come up with them, growing. They see the feature of the child. You know, she know the two men, you know. Both men, exactly. Both men don't know each other. And most times, one who is really the father don't know. She knows, and she see the features of the child. And she realized, you know, they don't look so much like the husband, you know. It looks like the other man, they look like Joe Grind. Because the man, they said on an interview with a farmer DJ. I don't remember which one. I think they said they are copyright too.
What's up?
Yeah, I think so. But the man, I think I told him I was interviewing this person. So I'm saying, go there, fire, and you know, like everybody had my PK, I think, like, it's a joke, it's a joke, I movie. So she told me that, you not get money. He said, yeah, no, man, I don't want me not get the whole bakery. You get money, you get party, you get everything was baking at the bakery.
Yes, true.
And so every day was Easter for him. With bone and cheese. And then they said, Joe Grant moved in Mr. Oral, so it's the one gone. Oops.
My left, in my left.
No more human living.
Yeah.
Joe Grant take care. But come back to the same sinful nature that nature that we have found ourselves in. But the more I set a way out, we can get out of our sinful ways. Continue reading.
Verse 18. Then will I establish. Verse 19. But if ye turn away and forsake my and worship them. Verse 20. Then will I pluck them up by the roots out of my land, which I have given them, and this house, which I have sanctified for my name, will I cast out of my sight, and will make it to be a proverb and a byword among all nations.
All right, so you see what is giving a man a jacket is a sin, and idolatry, adultery and all that, that's it. But the main thing, the most I always talk about, you know, is we. Just like how most of our people are the way they are because of the Christian church. So that is the root of the evil. Worshipping our other gods. By going to other gods, we take on another culture because it's not our culture. So we take on another culture. We allow the woman to rule over. But she can't even care about it. You can't question her. Right? Maybe the other culture it works. But For some reason, they ain't gonna work for you. So, continue.
Verse 21. And this oath which is high shall be an astonishment to everyone that passeth by it.
That's the temple. And isn't it an astonishment to you? My word. We're not in the land. So we don't need to talk what happened. Continue.
So that he shall say, why has the Lord done thus unto this land and unto this oath?
Mm-hmm.
As their father, and lay hold on other gods, and worship them, and serve them. Therefore, as he brought all his evil upon them.
Just look at all the religions that we find ourselves in. Was those the gods that brought us out of Egypt? So then not. So we have forsook, we have forsook the most high God of Israel. Yeah, you have a question? That's my point. That's my point. We just, it's like the most high just allow us to feel the same thing what we make him feel. Yeah. Here like how we go to other gods, and sometimes even within the temple we are worship other gods. So you know when the most I allow for you to Joe Brian come right by your house, come to your house. It's the same thing. That is why he referred to us. Each time we go to other gods, instead of going a warring. So you just make your woman then turn war for you. Let your lady become your wife, become a war on you. Because if she have one man out there with her, she's a war. So not to mention if she have two, have some. So he allowed you to feel the same thing. So I was, my God, it's the same thing you do me. It is the same thing you do. You know, eh? I think I think this last 400 years the most sometimes it burns his heart to see how the nation then treat the God. Probably that means so. Yeah, you get a laugh. Yes, man. That's the same thing you want to feel, you know. Yeah. So they don't get a weep and I say, my God, she really doing it. Well, God up there say, same thing you know me. Exactly. That is why I'm not afraid to say it, because the Bible said that. In the same way he rejoiced to see us being blessed and prosperous, if we turn from him, is the same way he's going to rejoice to see us being cursed. So when we don't have feel their heart, people up there laugh. I'm laughing at you. Your backside, you. It's the same thing you have to feel. Yeah. Yeah, and you see one, you don't know enough. You don't know that it's just your same soul in this life now. But he remembers. I say, yeah, but that same soul, I didn't even go do this, you know, and I didn't even go do that. When I cried, I said, my God, help me. He said, wait a minute, you want some water? All right, I'll give you some rain. I come flood you out today in this church. It's the same thing that we, yes.
One time,
Most I say, shall rejoice over our sadness the same way he rejoiced over our gladness. Right here in Deuteronomy 20. You finish? All right. So he even laid out how you can come back in. By people who are called by my name, and that's the first thing, humility. Humble yourself. I don't go like you are in a God's face. Oh, I don't mean it sin. And then people there before me. Are you see man? You don't know, but it's not same one. And you humble yourself. Admit that you are wrong. You are wrong. Admit peer. Remind me that's the way it's set forward. And set that in nothing it's Leviticus. So 26, 25, 26. All right, take me now to Ezra. Ezra. We're going 1 to 7.
Chapter 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ezra chapter 1, verse 1. Now it came to
pass. Hold on. 3 missing.
Oh, chapter 3.
Yeah. Verse 1.
Ezra chapter 3, verse 1.
It's not Ezra.
Ezra.
It's right in the Old Testament, not the Apocrypha. Ezra. Mm-hmm.
Ezra. Ezra chapter 3, verse 1. And when the 7th month was come, and the children of Israel were in the city, the people gathered themselves together as one man to Jerusalem.
All right. So you see, when you go where are the this is a period of time now on the most side. Lift you with some disease. And we gather together. Yeah. But here we weren't wayward, we're coming back. We gather as one man. That's how the most I like to see. Continue.
Right. Verse 2. Then stood up Joshua, the son of Josadak, and his brethren the priests, and Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, and his brethren, and builded the altar of God of Israel, of the God of Israel, to offer burnt offering thereon, as it is written in the law of Moses, the man of God.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Verse 3. And they set the altar upon his basis, for fear was upon them because of the people of those countries. And they offered burnt offerings thereon unto the Lord, even offering morning and evening. Verse 4. They kept also the Feast of Tabernacles.
Feast of what?
Tabernacles.
That Feast of what? Is it the Feast of Booths?
Right.
Same thing. Feast of Tabernacle, Feast of Booths. Mm-hmm.
As it is written, and offered the daily burnt offering by number, according to the custom as the duty of every day required.
Which was how long? 7. You close on the 8th, but 7. 7 days of after birth. Go on.
Verse 5. And afterward, offered the continual burnt offering, both of the new moons and of all the set feasts of the Lord that were consecrated.
In the time of after the Babylonian captivity, and we had gone back. That was the southern kingdom. Northern kingdom wiped out before. All right, so they kept the feast in the 7th month as well, continent.
Verse 6. From the first day of the 7th month began they to offer burnt offerings unto the Lord. For the foundation of the temple of the Lord was not yet laid. Verse 7. They gave money also unto the masons, unto the carpenters, and meat, and drink, and oil, unto them of Sidon, of Zidon, and to them of Tyre.
Those are 2 Amite cities, yes, which was prominent.
To bring cedar trees,
Cedar
trees from Lebanon to the sea of Jaffa, according to the grant that they had of Cyrus, king of Persia.
Right. This also in Cyrus grant liberty unto us and money, so that we could buy the things necessary to rebuild the temple. So this was, and it's recorded there, 7th month again. So we are entering a period which is close to the Most High. 7th month. 3 high holy days in that month, and there are records in the Bible for that period of time when the nation sought to get closer to the Most High. And today it's no different. So this feast coming up and the other feast, we're going to be in a period where the nation is supposed to seek to rebuild. We don't have a temple now, so what we're going to do is seek to rebuild. Dedicate which we have with schools and to pull closer to the Most High. So we have to keep these feasts with meaning. Not just for going through emotion, but with meaning. Do it from your heart. You know, what the question?
Yeah.
All right, so we can break there. We can break into the Lord's Prayer if there is no question. None? Lord's Prayer. You give the command to stand and to keep.
Abanawa, Shabashamayam, Kwadash, Aya, Shamka, Ya'awa, Malakwatka, Sabaha, Ratazaka, Mayam, Nathan, Lanawa, Lakam, Kal, Yawam, Watalak, Lanawa, Kawabwat, Nawa, Katalak, Nawa, Kawabwat, Yanawa, Walaha, Saba, Ya'anawa, Banasayawan, Abal, Awashainawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Amalakwa, Wahahala, Wahatapara, the I Walamya, Amen.
Alright, so that was the last right in ancient Hebrew, and what you have just said in English now,
Our Father, which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done in earth.
Thy will be done in
As
earth,
it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Give us this day our daily bread,
And forgive us our debts,
and forgive us our debts,
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
For thine is the
and the
kingdom,
power,
and the power,
and the glory,
and the glory,
forever.
forever. So be it.
Right? Oh.
These are the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under command of General Yahannah. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or a sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or a sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. And from the head to find this in Numbers chapter 18 verse 21 and in Malachi chapter 3 verse 8 to 10. Means 10 in Hebrew and is pronounced Ma'aishawa. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives, you give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest funds. Free will offering for a priest, not mandatory. Whatever amount you would like to give. Upcoming holy convocation. Memorial of blowing of the trumpet. First day of the 7th month. Thursday, September 17, 2020. This is found in Leviticus chapter 23, verse 24 to 25. Remind Akiam and Akiwatian to check on social media, such as ISUPK.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on, for I.S.U.P.K events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he is to wear all black, which includes black boots, shirt, pants, headbands, or scarf. With that we say a margin into stand. One courtesy salute to the teacher, a margin Shabbat. Teacher stand. One courtesy salute to the sister, a margin Shabbat, a margin Barak. Yahweh Shamar Ilatan Basham Yahweh.
What you have just said is in ancient Hebrew, may the Lord bless people.
With that we say, Yah Jamaica class business.